In a quiet town in Idaho during the 1970s, the Broberg family seemed to embody the American dream. Devout members of The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Bob and Mary Ann Broberg raised two daughters, Jan and Susan, in a picturesque suburban neighborhood. To neighbors and friends, they were perfect. A model family, well-liked, trusted, and seemingly safe. Among the people who frequented their home was Robert Berchtold, a charismatic man who quickly ingratiated himself into their lives. To the family, he was a trusted friend, a confidant, almost a second father to Jan. Everyone admired him. He offered help, guidance, and charm, but beneath the veneer of friendliness lay a predator whose manipulation would shatter the Brobergs' lives. In 1974, when Jan was 12 years old, Berchtold orchestrated the first of two abductions. He convinced Jan that she had been chosen by extraterrestrial beings for a secret mission to save the world and that if she refused, her family would die. The psychological manipulation was so powerful that Jan believed him. He took her to Mexico, where he secretly married her in a ceremony that would remain hidden from her parents. When the Brobergs discovered that Jan was missing, despair consumed them, but Berchtold's cunning manipulation kept them from immediately contacting authorities. Eventually, Jan returned home, but the trauma of the experience had already left deep, invisible scars. Just 2 years later, in 1976, Berchtold abducted Jan again, this time enrolling her in a boarding school under a false identity. The Brobergs, once more, were drawn into his web of deceit, believing that he acted out of concern and protection. The truth, however, was far darker. Berchtold had meticulously groomed Jan and manipulated her parents, exploiting their trust, faith, and love. His ability to maintain control over the family reflected a disturbing mastery of psychological coercion, one that allowed him to continue violating boundaries and laws without immediate consequence. When he was eventually arrested, the legal system intervened, but the damage to the Brobergs was irreversible. Berchtold was committed to a mental institution, yet his harassment and manipulation of Jan persisted into her adulthood. Despite the horrors she endured, Jan found strength in survival. She rebuilt her life, pursued a career in acting, and eventually founded the Jan Broberg Foundation, devoted to supporting survivors of childhood sexual abuse. Her courage in speaking out ensured that the world would know the Brobergs' story, a tale that serves as both warning and testament. In the quietest towns, behind the most trusted faces, darkness can fester unseen. Some believe that many elements of this story, the depths of Berchtold's manipulation, the full extent of his influence over the family, the gaps in records, were buried forever, obscured by secrecy and fear. Yet Jan's voice, persistent and resilient, illuminates what once seemed unthinkable, transforming a legacy of trauma into one of survival, awareness, and a cautionary chronicle of trust violated. In the end, the Broberg story is not only about loss and betrayal but also about the enduring power of human resilience and the haunting question of how well we truly know those we invite into our lives.